Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to yet another episode in Inner Guide Q&A program. Today we're going to be discussing about an important question, and that is the willpower. How to develop our willpower. Coming right up. So when we talk about willpower, first of all we need to understand about this. Willpower is the ability to control our emotions and put ourselves into a schedule and work on it for our own success. So many of us find so much hard, and it is a tough task to run ourselves in a schedule. To do that, we need to have the willpower. We need to have that mental discipline to control the emotions that pop up in our mind. So, how to do this thing? Well, there is a basic and very important factor that always helps us to develop our willpower. And that is known as, our great teacher, Supreme Buddha, taught us, and that is known as the Chanda. Chanda means the desire, passion. So if you have the desire for doing something, if you are passionate on doing something, if you are passionate of developing yourself, you will be always motivated and you will always have that energy within yourself to do that, right? But many of the students actually, and many of us, find very hard to get up early in the morning and start studying. Why? Because we don't have that willpower. To develop that willpower, we need to have the desire for doing that, right? So desire or the passion is the factor that drives through these tough tasks. So first of all, we need to develop the passion or the desire for our own success. So how to do that? So if you see some advantages of doing something, right? If you feel the advantages of doing something, then you will be passionate on doing that. So for an example, if I tell you that tomorrow you're going to go a picnic or a trip, so you should show up at 3 a.m. in the morning to a specific place. Normally, we will get up at maybe 2 a.m. and we will get ready. We will pack our bags and we will go for that, and we will show up right at 3 a.m. because we are passionate about that. We have that desire to go and have that pleasure. So in that case, you can get up early in the morning. But if we tell a person or a student to get up early in the morning and study, he or she will never do that because you don't have the desire for that. So first of all, you need to contemplate and you need to focus on the advantages of study, right? You need to visualize that the achievements that you are going to achieve in the future, right? So when you see that specific goal and destination that you have to go, and if you visualize that you are going to have that, then you will develop your desire, right? So to develop the passion or the desire, you need to always focus on the advantages of what you are doing. So if you put the love and if you put the desire, your passion into your work, then you will have that willpower. Your willpower will be developed day by day, right? So willpower or this motivation is not a thing that we get from our birth, right? It should be developed. It's like a muscle, right? It is quite same that When you go to the gym and when you work out, right? Day by day, it's growing up your muscles. That is the nature. But we cannot expect quick results from these things, right? So if you went to the gym and if you work out, right? In the first day, if you come in front of the mirror and look to yourself, there will be no change. But if you are going to the gym constantly and working out, if you work out, your body starts to grow up. Same goes with this willpower, or same goes with success. If you are doing it every day without stopping, that is called the consistency, right? Consistency is the key to success. So if you are working on your success consistently, with the willpower, with the love, passion, then it will start to grow. So first of all, you need to develop the willpower. You need to have the passion or the love. To develop that passion, you need to concentrate on the advantages that you are getting by doing these things, right? So now I'm going to talk about what are the things that destroys our willpower. There are some evil and bad habits which can decrease the willpower. So what are these things? These are called the addictions, right? So the first thing that I must say, and the first and the main thing that destroys the willpower is the addiction to alcoholic drinks and the drugs. They can ruin your willpower very much. So stay away from alcoholic drinks and drugs and everything, because they destroys your mentality, and also they destroys your health, right? The more your health will be destroyed, the more your mentality, your mental strength will be decreased. So stay away from the drugs and alcoholics. And the second thing is probably, this might be a little bit harder for you, actually, it is the video games, right? If you are addicted to gaming all the time, it can cause to decrease the willpower. So these are the things that we call the dangerous or unwanted addictions in our life. So you must stay away from those things, right? And also finally, the pornography. If you are addicted to watch porn all the time, that will be a huge impact on your willpower. Okay, so it will decrease your willpower day by day. So stay away from these things, right? Stay away from especially the dangerous addictions in your life. Then work on yourself, have that passion inside yourself, think of the advantages, right? Then you can put love, passion into your work, and when you do that continuously, consistently, you will develop your willpower. And once you develop your willpower, you can achieve any goal in your life. So I wish you all, may all of you have that opportunity to develop the willpower within your lives. Still, I can remember this incident. When I was little, when I was at school, one of my teachers came to our noisy classroom and she asked from us, "Do you know why you have given 2 ears and 1 mouth?" Then she said, "The reason why we have given 2 ears and 1 mouth is to talk less and to listen more." Ladies and gentlemen, when we deal with people in our relationship life, in your family life, in your workspace, if you have this quality of active listening, that can help you in many ways. This quality can help you in many ways. Okay? Now, so many people come to our temple and they talk with the monks with their problems and about their family problems, the problems in the workspace. And there's one thing that they all say, and that is, they say, "They are not listening to me. They are not willing to pay attention to me. They cannot understand me. That is one thing that they say. So if you have the art of active listening, if you practice the art of active listening, you will be liked by many people, right? People always like to talk with someone who is paying more attention to them, right? If you consider about the Buddha, Buddha was a great listener. At one time, one man comes up to the Buddha and he starts insulting him, right? He starts blaming him. All through that incident, the only thing that Buddha did was he listened to that person, right? He paid a good attention to that person. And in another time, one lady comes with her son died on her hand, and she was wailing and she was lamenting in front of the Buddha. And the only thing that the Buddha did was, he paid attention to that lady's suffering, right? He listened to that lady's suffering. So if you can practice this art of active listening, if you can listen more and talk less, people will start to like you. Remember that. For an example, if you come up to me, right? If you wanted to talk about a problem that you are having in your life, and from the beginning of the conversation, if I started to give you instructions and give you the advice and my opinions about that problem, what would you feel? You will start to think like, this monk cannot understand me. He's not willing to pay attention to me. He's not willing to listen to me. So practice this art of active listening. So how can we practice the listening? Well, the Buddha said that all the words that we speak from our mouth is pre-processed in our mind. That means we think first all these words and then we put it into our mouth and we speak. So if we can be mindful about what we think, what is going on in our mind, then it is very easy to control what you speak. And then it is very easy to know when to speak and when not to speak. So this practice is called, being mindful about the thoughts is called Chittanupassana in Buddhism, right? For that, the only thing that we have to do is like just sit in a quiet place and just watch our thoughts, what comes to our mind. We don't want to react with that thought. We don't want to chase behind that thought. Just identify the thought as just a thought. That is one practice that you can practice to be a good listener. And also, there's another way to practice this listening ability is to engage in conversations and try to listen more to that person. So, in the next conversation that you're having, try this out. Go to someone and if they wanted to talk with you, just from the beginning of the conversation, tell it to yourself that I'm going to listen to this person more. I'm going to pay attention to this person more. That is one way of paying and showing your love and affection to the person that is in front of you, right? That is why lending a good ear and listening to someone and sharing their suffering or problems with them is one way of showing your compassion and love towards them. Okay? So in the next conversation, when you go through that, just listen more to them. Let them put out what is in their mind. And when they go silent, and then you have to ask some more questions. Tell me, how did you do that? Right? How it happened? Right? Tell me more about the details that happened. Then they will be more interested in talking with you and they will start to like you and love you. When you practice this, then you will get used to this active listening. Okay? And also remember, do not listen to someone just to reply to them or just to give your opinion to them. Always listen to people to understand about their situation, to understand who the person behind these words, and to understand the intention behind these words. When you do that, then you will become an active and a good listener, and then you will be liked by many people. So that is all about the active listening. Be mindful about your thoughts and listen more than you talk. Keep that in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. We all know that it is very easy for all of us to judge someone by their character, by how they speak, by how they behave, by how they deal with problems. It is very easy to make these assumptions. But most of the times, these judgments that we make are not always the correct, right? Sometimes we think about a person as, in a way, this person is good, either good or bad. But later we realize that they are not as good as they are. They are not as bad as they look, right? So the judgments that we make are not always correct. But to deal with people, to be with people, to make relationship with people, we need to understand people. Somehow we need to have a good idea about who the person is. But it takes a very long time to understand. So today from this video, I'm going to share some valuable facts from the Buddha that was preached by the Buddha about how to make judgments, how to predict a person, how to understand the character of a person. The Buddha explained this in a sutra in Anguttara Nikaya. The Buddha says, by living together with a person, his virtue can be known, and this too only after a long time, not casually. By close attention, not without attention. By one who is wise, not by one who is stupid. Now what Buddha means by this is that if you need to understand someone's virtue, someone's life moralities, someone's ethical behaviors, you need to take a good time to understand it. You can't just look at a person and judge by their actions and how they behave, right? The Buddha says this to be known, the virtue can only be known, this too only after a long time, not casually. So what Buddha invites all of us to do is to take a good time. You deal with the person by being with that person, by living together with that person. You will gain some idea about their virtue, right? How trustful they are, how they behave. But this too take a long time. So what Buddha tells from this is to not to be panicked, to understand or to make judgments about a person. And then the Buddha says, pay a close attention, not without attention, right? If you didn't pay attention to their virtues, you may not be able to understand that person. And also the Buddha says, a person can be known, their virtues can be known only by who is wise, not by one who is stupid, right? So you need to be very wise when you understand about someone's character. And also the Buddha says, by having dealings with a person, his integrity can be known. And this too only after a long time, not casually, by close attention, not without attention, by one who is wise, not by one who is stupid. So the Buddha says their integrity, right, their character, how faithful they are, or how loyal they are, right, how trustful they are, only you can understand about this after a very long time. And then the Buddha says about a special thing. The Buddha says, in misfortune or in misfortune, a person's fortitude, a person's patience can be known. And this too only after a long time, right? How to judge someone's patience? When they experience misfortune, when they are going through adversities, when they are going through difficult times in their life, only we can understand how patient they are, how much they have practiced this patience, how much courage and how much grit that they have in their life, right? But this also to what? You need to take a good time. It's not easy for all of us to understand about a person with a short period of time, right? You may think, okay, I understood the person, but it is not, right? Human minds are so much complicated and so much complex when it comes to understanding, right? It's not easy to understand. That is why the Buddha said the difference between animals, like the other animals and humans, is that the other animals, they express their mistakes, they express their weaknesses. But humans, it is very difficult. The Buddha himself says that it is very difficult to deal with humans. It is very difficult to understand a human. Why? Because a human will always cover their weaknesses. They hide their weaknesses. So it is not easy to understand. So what Buddha means by all this sutra is that you can't judge a person by just casually. You have to take a good time. You have to be patient. You have to have a good mind of understanding to take a good idea about that person is, right? And also then the Buddha says how to judge a person's wisdom, how wise they are. The Buddha says by conversation a person's wisdom can be known, and this too only after a long time, not casually, and by close attention, not without attention, by one who is wise and not by one who is stupid, right? So to understand someone's wisdom, how to understand how wise they are, you have to have a good conversation, deep conversations about life. And also you have to take a good time to understand their wisdom, okay? Because sometimes the people who appear to be wise, people who appear to be good, are not always as good as they look, right? So I hope you got some idea about how to judge and how to understand a person's character. So I would like to end this video with a wonderful quote by Mrs. Dow Santamata. In her quote, she says, "It is easy to judge. It is more difficult to understand. Understanding requires compassion, patience, and a willingness to believe that good hearts sometimes choose poor methods. Through judging, we separate. Through understanding, we grow." So I would like to invite all of you to not to be too quick to judge someone, and do not judge a book by its cover. So take a good time to understand about people. Take care. Namo Buddhaya.